Hocotates, Koppaites, and many others are all races that come from different planets across the galaxy. Or are they? It's no surprise that since the beginning of the Pikmin series, it has always been alluded that PNF 404 is Earth. While it was difficult to tell in the first game, the second game made it much easier. And with Pikmin 4, we literally have structures resembling stuff that we see today. It is by no means a hot take to say that PNF 404 is Earth. But a question that everyone always asks is, where are the people? Well, I have a theory that every single race from all of these different planets are humans. Yes, that means characters like Olimar, Louis, Charlie, Colin, and everyone else are descendants of humans. Okay, so cool theory in Viseron, but how is this possible? To explain my point, we're going to talk about dogs. Yes, dogs. I'll get to how these relate in a little bit. Oatchi is the rescue pup who was assigned to aid on this mission. Oatchi comes from a breed of space dogs that have served the shepherd family, and his home planet is Gaia. During the events of the campaign, Oatchi eventually goes from being a regular space dog to becoming a dogman of sorts, as his tail gets leafified, similar to how Moss's tail is a leaf. Olimar's notes on the matter, specifically Olimar's notes on Moss, say that as far as he can tell, Moss has been a leafling pup since birth, and that Moss's DNA resembles Pikmin DNA, which is the main point where Moss differs from Oatchi. Additionally, the antidote used to cure Oatchi at the end of the game doesn't work on curing Moss from being a leafling. Olimar theorizes that this is because Pikmin are propagating their DNA into organisms, which causes them to become a leafling, and love Danduri, of course. Do you like Danduri? Well, I think you do. These Pikminified organisms can't leave the planet, so the Pikmin are motivated to create more Pikminified creatures in order to secure a permanent leader. The ancient Sirehound notes say that the Sirehound is 99.9% DNA match to Oatchi, and the only difference between Oatchi and Moss is the natural presence or absence of a leaf tail. But what does this all mean? It means that if a dog grows up on Earth, it is born with a permanent leaf tail. And if a dog grows up on another planet, it won't have a leaf tail, but it will eventually adapt to have one. Olimar's log continues to say that if this is true, it would suggest that the large ancient creature, the Sirehound, is the ancestor of both Oatchi and Moss, and these two come from vastly remote star systems, which hints at a fascinating truth that everything comes from Earth. So, dogs come from Earth, and the ancient Sirehound is just a really old chihuahua that's been chilling on there for a very long time. But that doesn't explain why everything's smaller, and how the other characters are humans. To start with everyone being human, let's read Olimar's notes on the heroic shield from the Sword and Shield series. The figure on this shield is wearing something quite similar to our spacesuits. That would mean these living beings must have looked something like us. I wonder who they were and what their faces looked like. Could they have been our ancestors who migrated through space to our planet long ago? This entire series hints that the humans that lived on Earth were capable of space travel. So they ventured out across the universe, inhabiting all sorts of planets and creating numerous civilizations. But that still doesn't answer why they left Earth in the first place, and why everyone's like 2 inches tall. The answer for this would simply have to do with radiation. Nuclear fallout, to be exact. Stepping into the world of reality for a second, scientists aren't completely sure, and tests are still being done to this day, but studies have shown that smaller creatures, particularly insects, are more resistant to radiation than humans are. Not only that, but studies have shown that in the event of a scorched Earth, like a dinosaur extinction event with an asteroid, you only need to be a couple meters underground in order to survive the extreme heat, assuming you're far enough away from the impact, of course. So what does this science stuff mean? Well, it means that if humanity knew this nuclear fallout was going to happen, they could shrink themselves with the technology, similar to the treasure shrinking tech shown at the beginning of Pikmin 4. But this wasn't just a small machine that could shrink a few people. This would be a massive shrink wave that would shrink everyone across the entire planet. This would allow for spaceships that could only carry a few crew members and a couple supplies to now be able to act like an ark to carry thousands or even millions of people, all while being able to last way longer because everyone's small now. But this shrink rate wouldn't only affect people, it affected all kinds of animals. And since radiation also affects and mutates animals, those left on Earth would eventually transform into the creatures we see in the Pikmin series. The shrinking plan wouldn't be foolproof though. Many people wouldn't be able to escape the planet and would perish. However, those that were able to survive on the planet would probably also perish eventually. However, there was a silver lining that they would get revived as leaflings by the new species to appear on the planet, the Pikmin. This would help explain characters like the Sage Leaf or others that can show up in the future, if there are any more leaflings in Pikmin 5 or Pikmin 4 DLCs. Other consequences of the shrinking could also involve shorter lifespans for humans, meaning that after some time, all the people who escaped would eventually forget all about humanity's expedition and the arcs that traveled across the galaxy in order to escape a radiation-filled Earth. Their lifespans would be shorter, so generations would also pass a lot quicker, meaning that Earth and all of these structures would not decay as fast. Radiation also doesn't destroy buildings, so stuff like the areas in Pikmin 4 could have high radiation, but could still be decently preserved like they are in the game. This doesn't explain how food doesn't have any mold and a bunch of other things, but it's a pretty decent answer. So, the short version of the entire thing, knowing that radiation would consume the planet, humanity shrunk themselves. They then left Earth and colonized the stars. The animals remaining on PNF 404 would become transformed to what we see now in the Pikmin series. As time passed and generation after generation, all of these events would eventually be forgotten, which is why all the characters in the Pikmin series have no idea about the civilizations that existed on Earth beforehand. This is all of course a theory. I would love to hear your comments and opinions in the comments below. Until next time.